Hi, I'm Callie and welcome to, don't know why I clapped there. Welcome to Kapowski Reads. I'm not reading horror this week. If you've seen my Summerween video, you will know I need something light, fluffy, cute. I'm changing the vibe. I have started reading my first book, which is called Summerween by Joss Wood. This is an ARC. And I'm going to be super honest and tell you that the reason I asked for this is because I kept seeing people talk about reading it over Summerween. I only got approved for it on Friday, but I needed to read something else, so I didn't have time to fit it in. I'm going to fit it in now. This is a spicy romance, small town romance. We have a doctor who's gone to this town. This town is really into Halloween. They love it. They've got little skeletons everywhere and they are celebrating Summerween, but every festival is very Halloweeny. So I think I would love this town. We have a doctor's gone there for holiday. Seems like he's hiding from something, recovering from something, probably work-related stress. He's probably really busy. And we have a woman returning back home. She's a dancer. He's a gym bro. So I'm thinking, well, I mean, they've met and sparks have hit. So yeah, so far I'm just really enjoying the little cozy small town vibes. There's a little map at the front. I love a map. You don't need a map, the town's so small. But it's fun. I'm having a good time. I don't know what my second book is going to be because I had another book I was going to read, but that's also a romance. I don't want to have two romances going on at the same time because I don't like to read two similar books at the same time, lest I get confused. So I will pick something else and go with that. Oh, good idea. As I was wittering away, I had the idea myself. I'm going to read Fault Tolerance by Valerie Valdes. This is the third book in the Chilling Effect series. I have loved books 1 and 2. Probably going to love book 3, aren't I? This is a space opera following Eva and her crew as they fly around space, usually getting blackmailed into doing stuff they don't want to do for big bads that they don't want to be helping. And it's very charming, very lovable characters, very interesting world. There are psychic cats. They don't come into play too often, but there are psychic cats. And just really gorgeous found family and like biological family dramas as well. It's so fun, it's so witty, it's so charismatic. Yeah, I'm going to be reading this as well. What a fun thing. When I finish work, I'll read this. Hopefully none of my books make me feel sick this week. The bar is low. So my halfway thoughts with Summerween are, I am loving the setting. Loving the small town vibes. It's very Gilmore Girls coded with it sort of everybody knows everybody. There's all these little town festivals happening and everybody chips in. There's a few people who are surly and they don't really like the traditions, but they go along with that anyway. I am loving the sort of, Ren is our female main character. She has come back. She's been globetrotting, doing choreography across the world. She's had a bit of a public moment, shall we say, with a K-pop star, which has gone viral, and she's just looking to escape. She's not looking for anything big, maybe a little summer fling. She is from the little town. They call it H-Town, Halloween Town, and I'm really liking her sort of reuniting with her old friends, with her godmother, Luna, who I love. She is the mayor and she's a witch and she's just super cool. And I really like the sort of friend dynamics going on. She is fully immersed in the upcoming festival. She's doing a dance routine for the teens. Our male main character is Dane and I hate him. I don't think I'm meant to be reading this romance hoping that they don't work out, because I hope they don't work out. I don't like Dane. He is everything he claims he's not. So he is a doctor. He is swole. His dad was a general and his dad was like a big toxic man. And Dane talks the talk, but he is very controlling. And I'm gonna be honest and say, when I first started reading this, I couldn't remember if it was a cute and cozy romance or if it was like maybe a thriller with a cute cover, because I definitely was getting thriller vibes, because he is obsessive and he is possessive. And we have Ren, who has come back to her childhood hometown. She is meeting people that she has known since she was a kid, and she's tiny. She's a tiny little dancer. And when she meets people, they just pick her up in their big bear hugs, and it's charming. And she's happy, they're happy, everyone's having a lovely time. But Dane is like, no, put her down. And at one point, he like puts his hands on like a guy she has known for years. My red flags would have been flying a lot before that. There is a young boy who wants to dance, but his dad doesn't believe that boys can dance, which is ridiculous because Michael Flatley can dance and he's a boy, so that's instantly wrong. And Dane, being swole gym guy, is like, oh, well, if I go and dance, can your boy dance? And the dad agrees. And everyone's like, oh, that's so lovely. Dane is so nice. Dane is so sweet. And even I was like, that's so nice of him. What a nice stand-up guy. However, then Dane makes it very clear that he will only go to the dance class if Ren is teaching. And if Ren doesn't teach, he won't go. And he's like, the kid will survive. And I'm like, then your whole lovely gesture means nothing. Your kind gesture was selfish. No brownie points for you. I hate him. I really, truly hate him. And I'm just at the third act conflict. And I'm like, I hope this conflict breaks them up, because I can't stand him. She deserves, she should be alone. She just needs to be alone. And he needs some therapy. He has PTSD, and he's gone to like heal himself. And he's like, I'm a doctor, I can heal myself. No. No, honey bun, you cannot. You need a different doctor to make you. You are a doctor, but you need a different doctor to make you better, or help you cope. You can't self do. Oh, the arrogance of this man. I can't stand him. I hate him. I'm not rooting for the romance in any way, shape, or form. There are ghosts though. And the ghosts are rooting for the romance. There's a bit of a prophecy happening, and they're like, yay, we love love. And I'm like, I love love too, but not Dane. May that kind of love never find me. I have a man who can regulate his emotions, and he is nice. He is nice to my friends too. So I'm liking it, but I'm not loving the romance. I love everything else about it. Very cozy, small town, weird and wonderful vibes, but I don't want the romance to work out. Hopefully it won't, but I probably will. I have finished reading Summerween by Joss Wood. I actually only ended up giving this book 2 stars, which feels really harsh. I don't mean it to be harsh, but here we are. I could summarise this book with one line, which would be, may a love like Dane never find me. Never. Dane was a walking red flag, a walking flexing red flag. He was very, I suppose from his perspective, he thought he was being protective, but he was being really protective over somebody he had just met, who was comfortable with these people, but it was his jealousy that made him almost come to physical blows with his love interests, long-term friends, because, they were guys and he's a guy, and, a woman couldn't possibly have male friends. So yeah, I hated Dane. Ren was so passive as a character. I actually kept forgetting who she was, which is terrible when she's the main character and the book really should focus on her. But outside her being a dancer, or a choreographer, which we only really focused on because she was doing a dance show, without her having a tragic history of being basically abandoned. Who was she? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. And I read the book. She was unfortunately an incredibly forgettable character, which I think is truly a crime for a main character. You want to be memorable. I loved the small town cozy vibes. Saw a few reviews that said it was kind of like Stars Hollow and Gilmore Girls, which I feel is true, but I also suppose is that just the main reference point that the collective we all use for cozy small town vibes? I'm from a cozy small town and I wouldn't liken it to Stars Hollow. We don't have nearly enough parades. In fact, we only have one town parade, like once a year. So nothing like Stars Hollow. Whereas H-Town, they are forever having these little festivals and displays, and I love that. I suppose that's probably what made me think, and a bunch of other people who reviewed it, think of Stars Hollow as small town, cozy, everyone knows each other, and there's lots of these quite zany celebrations. Not all of them make sense, but they don't have to make sense to me. It's Button's theory. They just have to make sense to whoever is organising them. I would definitely read more books by this author if they took place in this town, as long as they didn't focus on Ren or Dane. I actually don't mind if they focused on Ren, because she was just there. But Dane, no. I don't want that man in my life any more than he already has been. I do wish I got to know more of the side characters. I thought they were far more interesting than the main characters. I really wanted to know more about the mayor, Luna, who was Ren's godmother. Like, she's this witch who doesn't seem to have a lot of witchy powers, but she has a really cool coven and she's very charismatic and very influential. And all of Ren's friends, they sound so interesting. And one of her friends has a daughter who can talk to ghosts. And I'm like, tell me more about her. She sounds much more interesting. The ghosts, there were ghosts and they were meddling, but I felt they were so underutilised. We had a storyline focusing on one of the ghosts, Silas, who was an old soldier. And I just felt like I either needed more of that story or less, because it felt like it was trying to, like, you know, pull on the old heartstrings. And I will cry at anything. But I didn't cry because I didn't really feel anything for the character. I didn't know him well enough to overly care. And I think I had to care more about him to be invested in his journey. And I wasn't. I would have loved more of the ghosts. And I think this is the first in a collection. So I suppose probably more books will focus on the various townsfolk. And maybe the ghosts will get a bit more page time. There was a lot happening, but nothing really felt like the focus. It felt like a buffet, but there was no main meal. I feel I think it's a she's mine trope. That does nothing for me. I actively hate it. She is her own person. This particular character did not need to be saved, but Dane insisted on saving her. From whom? From having a fun summer? That's what it seemed like. I don't recall the last time I read a romance where I was actively rooting against the romance. So that was kind of fun for me, actually. I quite enjoyed yelling at them to, no, get apart. Stop smooching. Because I just didn't like it. Didn't buy the romance at all. In other news, I have made some more progress in Fault Tolerance. This is the third book in the Chilling Effect series, which I have, yes, maybe. I think I have vlogged both of the previous books before, but if I've not, here they are. This is the Chilling Effect trilogy. This focuses on La Sirena Negra? The ship. The ship is called La Sirena Negra, which means the Black Mermaid, and the captain is called Eva. She has this sort of misfit group of crew, and they were just happily going around their lives, doing little salvage trips, currying, and then in book one, they get brought into this, well, they get blackmailed into helping this big agency, and it's all been happening. There's been so much going on, but in this book, Eva once again is brought in against her will to help with some chaos. The book actually kicks off with these messages being received across the galaxy basically telling people to surrender or die because their galaxy's being taken over. There is this big bad, this ancient big bad that needs the resources. Off you pop. And Eva basically gets involved in trying to stop this. And she has to go on a scavenger hunt, if you like, to find these weapons that are kind of the only weapons that can be used against such an ancient being. We have, of course, lots of drama, and I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. This is the last in the series, so I'm kind of wary because the last of the series usually just means anybody can die. Any of them. And I don't want any of them to die. Even the characters who aren't main characters or side characters that maybe I just don't like, and the characters don't like them, but they would feel a certain way if they died, and I don't want them to go through the pain. So I'm so tense. I'm so tense. This is very, if you haven't read the series, it's kind of like a gender swapped Firefly. I definitely get Malcolm Reynolds vibes from Eva, and I definitely love all of the characters in the same way I love all the characters of the crew in Firefly. So that's a compliment. I am enjoying it so far. I'm very, very invested, and these kind of scavenger hunts are getting more and more deadly and dangerous as they go on, and I'm just really worried for the crew. But I will come back when I have an update. I have 2 updates. Update 1, I have brought a book back from the beyond. Long story short, I was in a position where I was in a position where I had time to read, but I didn't have any of my books. So I looked to my audiobook collection and I made a little bit of progress in Workhorse by Carolyn Palmer. Full disclosure, I started this book before I even started 75 Booked. I finished part 1 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. And I haven't gone back to the book, not because I'm not loving it. I am, but for me, I have to be in the mood for an audiobook, and I just haven't been, but I had the opportunity for an audiobook. So here we are. And I've made a bit more progress. I'm not going to have this book finished this week, maybe not next week, because who knows when I will next feel like an audiobook. I don't know, I just feel like I'm not in the right mindset for an audiobook just now. And that's okay, but, well, it's not, because I really like this book. It takes place in the 2000s, so it spans basically the whole decade. And we focus on Clodagh, who goes by Chloe. She is a workhorse in a fashion magazine in New York. It's very Devil Wears Prada, very 100 Other Girls. I love a 2000s fashion magazine moment. And like I say, she is a workhorse because she has determined that there are 2 kinds of workers at her publication. There are the workhorses, the people who buckle down and get their work done. And there are the show ponies, who are the ones who flounce in, the beautiful people who flounce in and get to go to all of the fashion shows and the galas and all of the fun things. But they're not really doing the grunt work. And she's kind of tired of being a workhorse. And this is a book about how she goes from being a workhorse to being, I don't know, but I'm partway through part 2 and her star is rising. But I'm getting a lot of nostalgia from this and I'm really enjoying it. I just wish I had the physical edition of this book because I really want to read it with my eyes. I don't really want to read it with my ears just now, but I will take what I can. In other news, I finished reading Fault Tolerance. I finished it this morning and I cried for pretty much the entire last 80 pages. This was just amazing, utterly amazing. Eva and the gang basically had to go and get all of these weapons to help save the galaxy from an ancient evil. They weren't an ancient evil per se. They were an ancient civilization who were out and about way before humans existed, way before any of the aliens in this world that we know of existed. They predate all of current civilization. So they didn't really view them as being important. And I suppose that probably does make them evil, that they couldn't appreciate others. So maybe they are evil. And I just really loved, the first half of the book was really about the scavenger hunt, the quest, the getting everything together. And the second half was all action. Like, there was action in the first half, but that got amped up in the second half. And there's huge battles, and my heart was being torn. I kind of wished, like Eva, I had a wee mechanical heart, because I felt. I love these characters. I love this series. I love the found family elements. All of the characters have biological family in this series. And we do hear about all of their family. There's nobody who's not got any family, but they have chosen to make their family the crew. So found family just definitely gets me in the feels. And Eva's going through so much drama with her blood family, and they are just... Oh, there was a moment that her dad, who is just a useless article, well, not even useless, he keeps dragging her into these he previously had dragged her into all of these horrible circumstances, and then would, like, betray her at the drop of a hat. And there were 2 instances where he actually stepped up and he acted like a father, and I was like, I went to go and cry at my boyfriend, and he was like, you're doing the sad Florence Pugh face. So that happened. That happened. I got so much closure from the series, but I really would like more. I'm so sad that the series is over. I'm not ready to say goodbye to these characters yet. And I was so worried going in that, you know, it's the last book in a series. There's big battle against an ancient civilization. You know, these are not warriors. They are people who have fought. Sorry, I took my foot out my slipper and I can't get back in. There we go. And they have fought, but they are not warriors. They are not prepared to fight an ancient civilization. And it seems like nobody's really wanting to help them. But it is a case of they could run, or they could do what they view as being right. And there's a lot of emphasis in this book about doing the right thing and basically being able to live with your conscience, because they've all done things in their past that they're not proud of, but they're just trying to be better people and leave the world a little bit better for having them in it. Really love that this was about just friendship, loyalty, facing your demons, and love. Basically, I absolutely adored this. There's also psychic cats. Every cover has the cats on it, and the cats are not a main part of the story. They are there, and they are psychic, and there's so much more to these cats than you might think. But they're not a main part of the story. However, every time they do show up, you're like, delighted, because they steal the show. And I absolutely love them. I love them so much. I love the writing. This book has a lot of Spanish language in it as well, because that goes with Eva as a character. And it makes her feel so real. And I think that sometimes there are some phrases that just don't translate properly. They don't work as well if you translate them. And I truly just loved this. I was kicking my little hooves. There was a moment where they were like, okay, plan A didn't work, plan B didn't work. Let's go to plan G. And everyone's like, wait, what about plan C? And they're like, not in Spanish. And I was like, I know what you mean, because I know like 5 words in Spanish. Absolutely delighted. This is such a feel-good, charming, gorgeous story, and I gave it 5 stars naturally. Of course it gets 5 stars. This now just means that The Chilling Effect is being added to my list of favourite series. where basically a series where I have loved every single one of the book. So it gets to join the Hilary Duff book series. Yes, I did not give all of those books 5 stars, but for the vibes, I love that series. And the Nightmareverse series by L.L. McKinney. A Blade So Black, this series. This also has 5 stars for all of the books. So hello, these are friends now. I'm just so happy. I put off reading this book, well, the first book in the series, because I had seen a few, I bought it very excitedly, and then I saw a few reviews where people didn't like it, and I kind of felt a bit sad. And then I decided I was just going to read it, and I had the best time. And then I bought books 2 and 3. And I suppose that just reinforces the fact that we all have different tastes. We all like different things, and that's absolutely fine. That's what makes people great, is that we have differences. And I shouldn't feel put off from reading something because somebody else didn't like it. Unless they have enjoyed every single thing that I have enjoyed and hated every single thing I've hated, we're probably going to feel differently. And that's fine. I'm going to finish this video here. Let me know if you've read either of these books. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!